Hey, what's up everybody? This is Super501 and today I want to show you guys a new Zane build that is used for anything in Mayhem 10 you could possibly want to do, including both of the raids. And I think this is one of the strongest overall builds currently in the game, one of the funnest to play. You're just zooming around, doing a ridiculous amount of damage, and you're pretty tanky. So with all that being said, we can go into our talents. Now with the most recent balance update with DLC 3, all of the action skills in the game have started scaling with Mayhem levels. Specifically, all of the action skills that are summons, Digi, Clone, Iron Bear, stuff like that, all of them are incredibly strong now on Mayhem 10. So that makes us want to go into the double agent tree and pretty much always use Digi Clone on Zane for the top tier best damage builds. First, double agent, like I said, we have synchronicity. You get 20% increased gun damage for every action skill active. We have increased magazine size, which helps a lot because we're using mostly full automatic weapons that drain their magazines pretty quickly. Borrow time mainly to get lower in the tree, but increases your action skill duration for every active action skill. Donnybrook, this build is still focused around kill skills, so this is a kill skill that's acts twice, gives me and our clone, or you and your clone, gun damage increase, health regen per second, which is pretty massive. Fractal frags, main thing we're using this for is kill skill activations that gives your digiclone a chance to throw a copy of your grenade mod, which grenades also scale with Mayhem 10 now, so you can get them much higher damage. With the build we're using, kill skills are constantly being reactivated. You'll see our digiclone will just be throwing grenades constantly. Quick breather, when you swap places with your digiclone, your shield starts instantly regenerating and you heal your digiclone for 50% of its max health, which is super important to keep your digiclone alive because you can have your action skills active for 100% of the time you're in combat with this build. Pocket full of grenades, you just need one into this, and this is pretty much just to facilitate buffs from another talent. So just one into this, which is a kill skill that's sacked twice. It gives you grenade regeneration every second. This is to always have enough grenades up for boom enhance, which when you use your digiclone or summon your digiclone, if you have up to 3 grenades, it will use all 3 of those and buff your digiclone very massively with pretty much every buff: gun damage, max health, fire rate, reload speed, and duration. Then we have Supersonic Man. With every one of your action skills active, you have increased movement speed, which when we get into other talents will also increase our damage. The rain trick of the light, when no enemies are attacking you, you deal bonus cryo damage, which is really easy to have active because of some of our digiclone augments, which we'll go over in a second. Then double barrel, whenever you swap places with your clone, you get increased gun damage, and then whatever weapon you have out when you summon your digiclone will be the weapon your digiclone is also using, which is a massive buff with a lot of the weapons in the game, especially a lot of the legendaries. For our augments, we're using clearly digiclone. We're using whatever this is pronounced as, and whenever the clone takes damage, your shield is restored for a portion of that damage, making you super tanky. Which one's a real one? When you summon your clone and swap places with it, it pretty much does a soft taunt everything in the area. Now this is super important because it makes our digiclone take most of the damage, and also we get that increased damage from a trick of the light, that bonus cryo damage, which is pretty massive. The next trip we're going into is Hitman. This is most of our kill skills. Violent speed, a kill skill that stacks twice, giving us increased movement speed, massive movement speed increase. Violent momentum, we get increased gun damage the faster we're moving, 20% at default walk speed, and we have a bunch of movement speed increasing talents and kill skills, making us super fast and have really high damage increase while moving fast. 3 into salvation, which is a kill skill that gives you life steal off 9% of the damage you're dealing. You really don't need to go any more than 3 in salvation. You can even go 2 and you'll probably still be pretty fine. Cool hand gives you increased reload speed. Then it's also a kill skill that gives you more increased reload speed that's actually twice. So as you'll see, pretty much every weapon reloads extremely quickly. Death follows close. Your kill skills have increased bonus to them 25% and increased duration by 7 seconds, mainly for the kill skill bonus, which is a pretty big increase. Then 5 into violent violence. Kill skill that's act twice gives you increased fire rate, really massive. You'll just start spraying out full clips of fully automatic weapons very quickly. Then playing dirty is a kill skill activator that the next 5 shots have a chance to fire an additional projectile. Now we're at 100%, so it's a guaranteed chance. Now depending on how many rolls you have of this on your class mod, just try to get to 100% on this so it's guaranteed. That's a pretty massive damage increase. Then one of the most important talents for this build. It's a kill skill. Every time it activates, it increases the action skill duration. When you're in combat with how much your kill skills are activating, this will pretty much make your action skills be up 100% of the time when in combat unless they die, which your digiclone can die sometimes, but with swapping places and healing it, it should be able to stay alive most of the time. We're using our clone for our second action skill, Bad Dose, just to get some small buffs and weaken targets, then Static Field to drain targets' shields and give you some of that back. So that is the entirety of our talents and our action skills. So now we can go into our items. So in this specific video, I'm pretty much using 2 sets of weapons, so we're going to go over that last. So first, shield mod, we're using the Transformer again. This is just a super tanky shield. Pretty much getting any super tanky shields are going to be really good. One of the best anointeds, I think the best anointed for shields is while your drone is active, you have increased movement speed, which will also give us increased damage. I could definitely get a better roll with this because you can get the Old God, which gives you increased elemental damage and is a bit more tanky. You can line that up with whatever elemental weapon you're mainly using. That will be a better roll. I just don't have one of those yet with the anointed on this, so that is definitely something that can be an upgrade that I can go get. For our grenade mod, pretty much just use any track and grenade mod. Homing, recurring hexes are really good because you want anything that your clone can't miss with. Since our clone will constantly be throwing grenades, you want something that homes. Hexes are just really good because they spread out, they do really good AoE damage. Clone doesn't have a limit to how many they can throw. Past that, it's just pretty much for a clone. We don't get any effect from these for the most part. Even the anointed really isn't activated for us pretty much anytime we're in combat. For our class mod, we are using a Seeing Dead. For the rolls, pretty much the best rolls in my opinion are 3 into Donnybrook and then 2 into Playing Dirty. Pretty much this class mod is required for Zane for most top tier builds. Shooting anything has a chance to activate all of your kill skills and give them increased effect. This is a pretty good roll. Gun damage, reload speed, and SMG damage all pretty good. We use a good chunk of SMGs. Both the other rolls on this are just pretty good. The reload speed you could definitely switch out for something and get a little bit more damage, but it's still pretty good. For our artifact, we are using the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, which shooting things gives you stack and damage increase. When you're at 15 stacks, it gives you an additional 90% damage increase, which is massive. And I think the fire rate and weapon reload speed are the best secondary rolls you can get on this. And if you don't want to use this, if you want something a little bit tankier, the damage on this isn't going to be super massive, so you can use a defensive artifact if you want to, or just whatever other artifact you want. This is just pretty much a main one to get actual damage increase. For our weapons, I'm pretty much using 2 sets in this video. There's still a lot of other weapons that are very good with this build, but these are just kind of 2 sets I'm using that I've been able to farm up. So first, with these sets that are all old weapons, we're using the Monarch, we're using Kassoons, and we're using the Kib's Worth. Pretty much all these, while your drone is active, gain 100% of damage as bonus crowd damage. This is pretty much the best anointed for weapons on Zane. That's the main reason I'm not using more weapons, is because I've farmed up these specific weapons with these rolls. Now we have the Monarch, which is incredibly strong. A ×8 version is always going to be strong, just sprays out so many bullets, has really good damage as you'll see. The Kassoon, even though it was nerfed, is still very strong and you can get different elements. I don't remember if the Monarch can be all elements, but still very strong. Kassoons can be pretty much all elements, and ×2, just spraying out these bullets, are very strong as well. Then the Kib's Worth is another strong weapon, but not super strong. I don't think it's like top tier, but it's still a viable weapon. And just spraying out pretty much any weapons that spray out a lot of bullets that have good damage are going to be good on Zane. The second set are new DLC weapons. We're using a Miscreant. We are using Light Shows, which I think the Light Show is actually the best weapon for this build. It's just incredibly strong. Your digiclone will just start destroying everything when using it, and you'll do a ridiculous amount of damage. So Light Shows, Miscreants. Then we are also using Flippers, and that's what will be in the footage as of right now. These are very strong weapons, and there's a lot of other strong weapons. We have a Gargoyle here, a few other weapons from the DLC. A few older weapons are all very strong, but I haven't gotten good rolls with them at level 60 yet. I'll probably do an update to this build once I get better rolled weapons to give you guys a lot more options to use for weapons that are just very strong with this build. And that's pretty much the entirety of the build. In my opinion, this is one of the strongest and funnest builds currently in the game. So subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build, and thanks for watching.
Let's have a chat. Hey there, good looking. You what? No, no. Game!
What could have happened here? The planet does not appear to have been ripped apart so much as burst open from within.
Before you get hurt. Digging! Didn't anyone teach you how to fight? Use the tick! Bushel of monkey gits! Come on, come on, come on!
Those crystals look like the one in my lab. It is clearly Iridian technology, but I am unfamiliar with its purpose. Start pushing buttons, I suppose. What could have happened here? The planet does not appear to have been ripped apart so much as burst open from within.
That wasn't so hard now, was it? Oh, bushel of monkey gits! Back away! Come on, come on!